How do spiders meet online? Through webinars. This is Bricklog 5, and keeping on the topic of spiders, let's look at these bug bits. These bug bits probably came from a female earwig, given that the cerci are straight. This isn't the first time a back end of an earwig has landed on the brick. It's happened in several of the previous logs. On top of this, there's usually other bug bits on the brick. The brick just generally has bug bits all over it. In the area around the brick, I have found these spiders which have kind of like a weird shape to them. Not sure why or what species they are. I should also point out that there are multiple species of spider around the brick. For instance, there's a daddy longlegs that was in Bricklog 1. Because this isn't the only type of spider around the brick, I can't know for sure that the exoskeleton from the previous two logs came from this type of spider in specific. Nor can this type of spider explain all bug bits. The spiders and web you've been seeing are not directly above the brick. Here's the spider web directly above the brick. Here's a look at the web above the brick. Well, the spiders must be dropping the bug bits and the exoskeletons onto the brick. At this point, I was trying to film what I thought was a spider exoskeleton stuck in a web. When an interesting development happened, I dropped my phone. Shit. When I dropped my phone through the web by accident, it dislodged this thing from it, and like when this thing fell, it like gently came to a rest. Like it fell like it was a feather, which means it's hollow and light. So this must be a spider exoskeleton, because like if it was filled with organs, it wouldn't be that light. Same spider exoskeleton. It has moved from its previous spot because now, like, just after I stopped filming, it caught the wind, so definitely hollow. Yeah, spider exoskeleton. There has been a new development. The spider exoskeleton that I knocked off the web while dropping the phone has now walked back to its previous location. This means it isn't a spider exoskeleton, it's a spider. It's just spiders are really light, and that's why it behaved like that when it fell. The reason I know it's the same spider is because it's returning to the same location as it was before, and also when I saw it running back up to its web, it came from the rough area where I last took a picture of the spider exoskeleton. So yeah, it's actually a spider exoskeleton but full of organs, meaning it's an actual spider, so it was actually alive. Now moving on to the actual brick itself, there has been substantial moss growth on the brick since the last log, particularly in this region. Since there isn't much time between this log and the previous one, it may look like the moss grew very fast, but it didn't. It's just that Bricklog 4 was released sometime after recording. Another significant change is quite a lot of the white stuff has disappeared. This change can be easily observed here and here. The most likely explanation is that this white stuff is some kind of efflorescence, which disappears when wet, and since it has rained recently, that would explain why the white stuff has disappeared. See Bricklog 3 for more details. Now let's look at some more items on the brick. This item here, I'm not quite sure what it is, maybe a seed, and this item I don't have the faintest clue. Since this time I've decided not to move the brick, I can't really look at it under the microscope, so that's not an option for identifying these objects. I still have two of the items from the previous logs. One of them is the plastic piece, which is in my room, and one of them is the wood piece, which is still on the brick, and it has rotated a bit. I also spotted an alive bug next to the piece of wood. To finish this log off, I'll talk about the markings on the brick. The X on top of the brick has faded substantially, so I have to rewrite it. X is like faded on this part of the brick, on this face. I'm gonna try and put it back. I'm gonna try and redraw it. Let me just try and do it one-handed so you can see how the X is now redrawn. And that's how you redraw the X. A very interesting way to do that. Here is the X before and after restoration. Also, here is how the X looked in the 2 previous logs. Since I didn't move the brick this log, I can only see 3 of its faces. Here's how the markings for the other 2 faces looked, and here's how they looked in the previous log, essentially the same. It's strange that the X on the top is the only marking that fades. The other 2 markings are also exposed to the weather, but yet they don't fade. It's strange. Anyway, this is the end of the log. Missed an opportunity to say, instead of the internet, the web. How do spiders meet on the web? Well, through webinars.